Hi guys, welcome back. I'm Anirudh and I'm a student of IIT Madras. I have scored a KVPY rank of 385 and today I would like to tell you some of the insights that I garnered while preparing for KVPY whilst managing JEE Mains preparation and even Olympiad preparation. So let's get on with it. Now this video mainly focuses on the SX category as there is a lot of things that the students have to juggle with, but if you are from the SA stream, I would still suggest for you to watch on as the insights provided are pretty universal. So let's get on with the main thing that I want to talk about is do not prepare for KVPY. I know I'm making a preparation video and telling you not to prepare for the exam, but what I mean by that is don't go around chasing specific concepts. If let us say KVPY is targeting thermodynamics a lot, which they are, then you shouldn't go around reading thermodynamics concepts right now because your second attempt in mains, your final attempt is only 2 days from the KVPY date itself. It's a mess and it was exactly like that, something very similar for us last year also, so just have to deal with it. Instead, try and plan to write at least 3 previous year papers. Previous years are extremely important because the pattern of KVPY paper is extremely unique. It is tough, it is a 3-hour paper and it has sections in it, and the main thing that you have to notice is you are given a choice. Most exams, especially JEE Advanced and mostly JEE Mains, of course JEE Mains has also introduced optional numerical since last year, but most exams you just start the paper and you just go rapid fire. You look at the question, you solve it and you move on. But for KVPY you really have to take a step back and decide which questions you're going to solve. This means you have to allocate some brain space to even think about what questions you have to solve and which subject you have to choose, especially in level 2 where you have negative marking and double marking. So the competitive edge can definitely be had there. I will tell you some useful insights which help me towards the end, so stay tuned. The main thing you have to notice is focus on the 2020 paper, because that paper was, since there was no interview last year, the paper was made much more difficult compared to the other paper. I just remember looking at the paper and be like, wow, this is much difficult compared to last year. So look at the 2020 paper, set that as your benchmark and try to do well in it. Look at the mark versus rank and see where you've fallen, because there's a pretty good chance this year's paper will be even tougher than last year's, as is with the trend. Second thing, try to give 2019 and 2018 at least. If you are having a lot of time or if you have aced your first attempt, then give until 2016. Stop it at 2016. This is true even for JEE Advanced. Stop it at 2016 because before that you have good questions, but the paper pattern and the entire vibe of the paper is definitely similar since 2016. So keep 2016 as the ultimate limit, but keep at least solve 3 papers, that is 2020, 2019 and 2018. And a small PSA, the mock tests in KVPY website does not give you a mark. I figured this out the hard way. I wrote the paper for 3 hours and I submitted and closed the tab. It was very painful. So the mock paper does not give you a mark. So doesn't the JEE Advanced paper, JEE Advanced mock paper in the website. So keep that in mind. Just look at the KVPY website's mock paper for the UI and nothing else. Don't spend actually solving the paper. Do that with another website. So now we come to the most crucial part of giving the KVPY paper, in my opinion, which is approaching the paper itself. KVPY is a very odd combination of JEE Mains and JEE Advanced in terms of difficulty, and now especially with the lack of interview, it is more creeping towards JEE Advanced territory. So you paper difficulty wise, it is definitely up there with JEE Advanced, which is why I believe this is a very good simulation of the JEE Advanced paper itself. Yes, you are not being tested with your stamina or your fatigue, but in terms of difficulty and time constraint, it definitely squeezes you a lot. So coming to the paper pattern itself, as you know, you have physics, chemistry and maths level 1, physics, chemistry and maths level 2. You have biology within the same paper, but since we are preparing for JEE, that really doesn't matter. So when physics, chemistry and maths level 1, I mean, that is really up to you which order you solve the paper. I started with chemistry because chemistry gives you a good amount of momentum. Most of the questions, they are pretty direct and easily solvable, so you can directly just go and solve those questions and move on. So you'll have this mental good feeling that I solved 1/3 of level 1 and I can move on. So that is up to me, but you guys choose which works best for you. But level 2, this is where some mind games come in, because out of physics, chemistry and maths, you need to solve only 2, and those 2 will be tougher than level 1, and you will get double the reward also. So double the reward and double the penalty. So that is up to you. Now what I would suggest is keep this in mind when you enter the exam hall, and never forget this. Stick with one. Pick one and stick with it. For what I did and what I think you guys should definitely do is choose chemistry as one of those subjects, because chemistry is easy and it contains a lot of theory questions. Yes, they do toss in a bit of physical chemistry questions, but organic, inorganic, if you see them, you can solve them immediately. Even if you spend time solving on, that will be nowhere as much time that you'll be spending if you're doing for both maths and physics, which are known to be really tough. So what I would suggest is pick one between chemistry, pick one between physics and maths and stick with it. It could have so happened that the physics paper that you have chosen would have been one of the toughest physics papers KVP has ever given, like it was for me, but still it doesn't matter. Don't try to jump ship to math. The problem is when you try and jump ship, right, you start overthinking a lot. You're like, okay, I've already wasted 10-15 minutes on this. If I'm going to go there and if it doesn't work out, what will I do? Don't have these mind blocks at all. Which is why if you tell yourself, whichever one I choose, I leave it to God if it's going to be the easier one or a tougher one. Whichever one I choose, I'm going to stick with it no matter what. If you have this mental direction when you go in, you will not be disturbed by or unsettled by the difficulty of the questions. So keep that in mind. Make sure that you have a basic idea of which subject you're going to choose. Don't try and look at the questions individually and choose after that. I was like, I will do physics only because physics is my favorite subject, and I will do physics second level. Despite it really ruining my momentum for the rest of the paper, I really think it was a good decision, because if I had started thinking like, okay, what if I do math right now, I would have definitely gotten confused in the middle of the paper, and the paper was already confusing to begin with. So don't try and jump ship in the middle of the paper. The third main thing is this paper is heavy on time constraint, because the level 2 questions, they really make you think. See, KVPY's goal is to not make you engineers. It is to make you researchers. So what they will do, they will really ask you thought-provoking questions. I think almost everybody who speaks about KVPY has mentioned this, and I will mention it again, which is the questions that are asked are incredibly thought-provoking. You can't really look at them and know the formula. If they do that, then KVPY is failing in their mission, which is to help promote research, which means you'll have research-based question a lot, which means you have to spend time thinking, and all the time you're spending thinking, which means you're losing time in not spending to solve other questions, right? So definitely in that manner, KVPY squeezes you in terms of time management. I still feel KVPY was one of the most intensely timed paper that I have ever written. This includes JEE Advanced. So definitely keep that in mind. Time management will be tight, and as a cumulative effect of all of this, you will definitely feel the paper is hard. If you feel the paper is hard, do not get jittered, because last year that's what happened to me. When I wrote the paper and came out, I'm like, there is no way I'm qualifying, because the paper was so tough compared to the previous years that I just given up all hope. But still, the output turned out to be really positive, and so that just tells that whatever issues I felt, everybody felt the same issues. So don't get bogged down by that. Actually, the main key competitive advantage is not overcoming the difficulty, rather how you respond to it, right? If someone feels the paper is hard, which means they are par for the course. But if you get jittered and you lose hope in the middle of the exam, then that is where you're falling behind as a competitor, and not when you find the paper difficult. So just keep that in mind. Papers are never easy. Just keep that in mind. So finally, I just want you to keep all of this in mind while writing the exam. To summarize, always just try and do previous years for the time being. If you have aced, attempt one of JEE Mains, then try and do a bit more, but at least 2019, 2020, minimum these two papers. And second thing is that if you are an essay student, try to go through organic and inorganic a bit more detailed, and just give up on biology, because biology, they will ask very tough questions anyway. And thirdly, if you are looking at the paper attempt, level 1, choose the order which sticks with you. I would recommend chemistry, and then whichever subject between physics and chemistry you like the most, physics and maths you like the most. And for level 2, choose chemistry as first subject, and the second subject, pick one between physics and maths and stick with it. No matter how tough or how easy, pick one and stick with it. So that has been my opinion and my insights, guys. Let me know if you need any more help. Put down in the comment section, and I'll try and answer to you as soon as possible. Thanks.